Good afternoon, dear students of the English Insights 3, and welcome to another lesson. Today we start a new unit, which is going to be the last unit of the book, and this is the first lesson. So let's start the lesson now. In today's lesson, we start a new unit which is entitled Crossing Borders. So the title of the unit is Crossing Borders, and we're going to discuss the meaning of crossing borders, what it involves, what examples, or what does it mean, what is happening so that people are crossing borders. We will look at the first two parts of the unit. We will look at 8A and also 8B. So 8A entitled International Cooperation, and also 8B Global Action. The learning outcomes that we're going to cover in today's lesson are, so we are going to discuss the topic, which is crossing borders. We'll also identify some new words related to the topic, and also use words in context, looking at some determiners. This is a grammar point here. And also there's going to be some reading for specific information. So when we say crossing borders, what do we mean by crossing borders? If you look at the photo or the picture here, which is at the cover, like on the overview page of the unit, and also the first activity. The first activity says, look at the picture and the newspaper headlines. These are some headlines. So we have about 4 headlines or newspaper headlines, and another also a picture, and you are asked this question. So what do they tell you about borders in today's world? What are the reasons for this? So we're focusing on the word borders. Of course, the word borders refer to the separation between countries, which have become more physical but not really meaningful in terms of the connection that's happening between the people and the countries. You can see the picture, and the headline says crossing borders, crossing cultures. So a person hasn't just become a citizen of his country, but also there's a term that we call global citizen. And also technology breaks down borders. The internet has made us connect with people from all over the world. So you might have a friend in a very far away country that you've never imagined or you've never visited, but you still have friends there. And the world is getting smaller, and we call it like a global village. The whole world has become a global village. So I could say another term here, a global village, because all the countries or the people in all the countries can connect with each other without visiting each other. Another headline says call for more international cooperation. So you're not just working or helping the residents of your country, but also helping people outside the country. So this is like somehow clarifies the meaning of the topic of our unit, which is crossing borders. So we are going further than the country and knowing more, working more than just in your own country. Okay, you'll also find a list of words at the beginning of the unit which refer to international movement. So another term related to the title of the unit, which is crossing borders, is that it's not just that you are connecting with other people, but you are sometimes move to another country for some reason or another. So some kind of reasons, or you might be forced. Sometimes it might be on your own accord. So you might not be forced, but you chose to move to another country. Now we are going to use these verbs. So all of these are verbs. So all of these are verbs. We are going to use them to as beginning to complete these sentences. So when I say in a different country, do you immigrate in a different country? No, you immigrate to another country. So the word immigrate is going to be to another country. So I'll say here immigrate to another country. And then we have the word keep in touch. So when you keep in touch, you don't keep in touch to countries or in other countries, but there is keeping in touch between people mostly. So we keep in touch with people from other countries. So it is going to be here, keep in touch with people from other countries. And then participate in sports events. Sports events might take place in a country where you are not living, so you'll participate in sports events in a different country, okay, and even with people from other countries. So I'll say here you participate okay, so participate in sports events in a different country and also with people from other countries. So I could also write participate here. Okay, we come to the fourth verb, which says study. And of course, studying abroad has become very common lately. And of course, when you study abroad, you study in a different country, of course. And because you study in a different country, you will have people from other countries, and you will be studying with people from other countries, sure. So it's going also to be there. So you study with people from other countries. Of course, we travel to another country. So traveling is to another country. And for the last one, which is volunteer, you would volunteer to work in a different country. So volunteer is going to be here. Volunteer to work. Now you should know the word volunteer, which means you do some kind of work without waiting for a return. So you're not waiting for a salary or whatever. You're doing it for the good of you, because you are a good person, so you volunteer. And you volunteer to work also with people from other countries. You can also say volunteer goes here as well. Okay, so yes, so this is all about the verbs and where they could belong. And we can also, for the word from a country, you could immigrate from your country and go to another country. Or I guess it could go here. Okay. Okay, you travel from a country to another. Yes, you could travel from a country to another. Okay, so this is when it comes to international movement, moving outside borders. You cross borders and move out of your country for different purposes: studying, traveling, participating in events, or for the purpose of voluntary work. Now, going inside the unit, we are going to look at two parts, as I mentioned at the beginning. We will look at 8A and also 8B. Now, 8A is entitled International Cooperation. When I say cooperation, there are two words here. So it's like co and operate. Operate means work, and co means with. So you work with other people. So co is a prefix. That means so work with other people. Okay, so I'll say working with others, or in teams, even can say in teams. Okay, and of course it's always international cooperation here. Now, the first question asks you a question about, or asks you to identify which one of these definitions best defines the meaning of an international non-governmental organization. So when I say an international non-governmental organization, or an NGO, which is the abbreviation for the three initials, the initials of the three words, is an NGO a commercial organization? So is it a commercial one that gets money, which supports the aid of work of a national government, only national, abroad, a national government that works abroad and is partly funded by the government. Is it funded by the government? Yes or no? The other definition says it's a not-for-profit, or we can say non-profit. You can also say non-profit here. A not-for-profit organization which is not owned or funded by a national government and which works to provide aid or promote awareness of a particular cause. So this is the most or the best definition to define an NGO. So an NGO is not profitable, it's a charitable, as we'll see in a minute. It's not supported in whatsoever way by the government. It provides aid or promote awareness of a particular cause. There could be a reason, whether it's medical, helping poor people, helping people study. It could be any kind of purpose or cause. Now we have an example of an NGO mentioned in your book. The name of the organization is Doctors Without Borders. The question here says you should read the text below and try to sum up in one sentence. So you should just write one sentence what this organization does. So what does it do? Now, by looking at the picture, I'll see that I have a sick person lying here, and from even the title or the name of the organization, you'll know that the people who work in this organization are doctors. So in one sentence, we could say that Doctors Without Borders is I'll just make it using the abbreviation. So Doctors Without Borders is an organization which helps people So it helps people who are in need of mostly medical care. So it's not about providing food or whatever. So it specifically focuses on medical care. So in need of medical care because of, now why would those people need medical care? Because they have come through specific crises like natural disasters and also armed conflicts. So because of events like natural disasters and armed conflicts means when there's some kind of wars and then those people need help, so the Doctors Without Borders go and help them. And armed conflicts. Now I forgot to write a word here. It's an independent organization. So it doesn't depend on a government or anything. Just the doctors are, we can say, promoting their own work. So it's an independent organization helping people who need medical care because of natural disasters and also armed conflicts like wars. Now this is one sentence that could provide some information about what Doctors Without Borders really do. Okay, now again here, to know more about this organization, there is a list of pairs of adjectives which could be opposites, and we should decide which adjective in each pair best suits the Doctors Without Borders. So you will choose the adjective which best describe Doctors Without Borders according to the text that's provided in 8a. So is Borders or Doctors Without Borders, is it a charitable or a profitable organization? When I say a charitable, it comes from the word charity. So we have the word charity, organizations which do work for without getting a reward out of it. Or is it a profitable? Of course, from the word profit, there is a profit out of what you do. So of course, no, it's a charitable organization. Okay, that's the first one. Then, is it a state-run? Is it run by a government? Or is it an independent? And of course, I have mentioned before that it's an independent organization. Number 3, is it a newly founded or an established? So has it just been very newly founded, and it's not that international? No, because it's an international organization, so it's an established NGO or NGO, yes. Then we come to the fourth one. You have two options which I could say are opposites. Is it a theoretical or a practical organization? When I say theoretical, there isn't any kind of tactile work, so they don't do work by hand, but practical is the opposite. And Doctors Without Borders is actually a practical organization. The last one, extensive or small scale, does it only focus on a very specific or a few number of places? Or is it expensive? You can say broad, more broad and not just specific places. Yes, it's an extensive organization. So these are some of the adjectives which could describe the Doctors Without Borders. It is a charitable, independent, formerly, or a charitable independent organization which was established very long ago, and it does practical work to extensive or in an extensive kind of way. Okay, so this is the text which gives some information about the Doctors Without Borders, or in French it could be Médecins Sans Frontières. Okay, now the second activity here asks you to find words in the text to complete the dashes, and in fact these are almost, you can say, definitions for the words. So the first one says, dash is when you behave differently to one group of people. Now if you look inside the text, what words means, or what word means that you behave differently to one group of people? So you favor one group of people, like a tribe, or sometimes even a last name over another. That word would be, it should be somewhere here. So now if you look here, based on only on need and irrespective race, religion, gender, or political affiliation, this is not something they focus on. So the answer is yes, it should be mentioned here, but so the answer is discrimination. Now it's discrimination. Okay, so when you discriminate somebody over another because of color or race, this is, of course, even our religion doesn't encourage it. Okay, the second one says, are people who have been forced to leave their home. Now if you look at the situations happening around the world, I'll give you an example. For example, Syria, for example, they had to leave their houses, and they have become what? Living in places which are not their homes, and yes, without homes. In English we call these people refugees, which is mentioned here. Okay, so this includes refugees. So the word, the second one, who have been forced. They have been forced. They haven't, like, if we compare the word refugees with the word immigrant, you will see that the word immigrant is, some people choose to immigrate to another country. They are not forced. They just choose to live to another country, so they immigrate. But the word refugees is, you are forced to leave, so you are a refugee. Okay, so that's the difference between the two words. So refugees are people who have been forced to leave their homes or their home. Number 3 says, are people also who are affected by a bad situation, such as a natural disaster or a war. Now the people who are in a bad situation after some kind of a natural disaster or a war. They are like out of their hands. They have become victims, we call them. So they are victims. So they are the people who have or who are affected by a bad situation, such as natural disaster or a war. Number 4 says you need 2 words here. Include, of course, that's an easy one, should be easy one for you. Earthquakes, tsunamis, and droughts. Of course, we're talking about natural disasters here. It should be small letters here. Natural disasters include earthquakes, tsunamis, and droughts, and yes, lots of other natural disasters. Number 5 says are extreme situations which need urgent attention. When we say urgent attention, something that I cannot really go over, so it needs my attention and urgently, not just in a very like careless way, but it really needs attention. So if we read the second paragraph here, yes, as part of their work, I'm reading here, the MSF draws attention to crises and medical emergencies where for whatever reason people are not given the aid they need. So because there's the word emergency here, of course it's an urgent, okay? So an emergency is urgent, and because I only need one word, the answer is going to be crises, which is the plural of crisis. So you have crisis is the plural, the singular is crisis with an I, so it's going to be crises, and I'll just want to give you the singular form, which is crisis. Okay, no need for the bracket there. Okay, the 6th one says dash is staying alive. I guess it's going to be the other paragraph here. Yes, so we have finished from 1 to 5, we're in 6 now. Staying alive, MSF maintains independence from national policies, focusing instead on providing humanitarian. So the word humanitarian is a very nice word. Aid for those whose health or survival is threatened. Their survival is threatened and they might die. So the survival is like the opposite of dying, and it's the opposite of staying alive. So the answer for number 6 is survival. Is staying alive. Number 7, I need also 2 words here, are people who are in danger. When you're in danger, there's a word in English that means an endangered, and that word would exactly be vulnerable. And Doctors Without Borders respects only the urgent requirements of vulnerable individuals. So the word vulnerable individuals are people who are in danger. So it's going to be here, vulnerable individuals are people who are in danger. The last one says also 2 words are carried out when people need aid or help, or I can even say support. Okay, so the word aid or the 2 words needed here are, let's go back to the text, says, and its members refuse to let anything stand in the way or on the way of carrying out relief operations. So a relief is making a serious problem less serious, so alleviating it. So whenever people need aid, you carry out a relief operation. So relief operations are carried out when people need aid. Okay, we're still with yes, the first part of the unit, which is 8A. I just want to look at an example of the grammar we're going to take, if there are any examples here. So we'll just, it looks like we'll just move there. Okay, so The grammar or the grammar point, the language point, which is in 8A, is determiners. What are determiners? Determiners are usually words which come before nouns and they determine the noun. So they say something about the noun, either in terms of number, in terms of even whole or part of it. So the ones we have here are in terms of number. If you see all of these here, refer to number. So yes, we're talking about determiners, or I should say referring to number. Yes, referring. Now, when we refer to the number of our noun that's in the subject in our sentence, I could use different determiners, one of many different determiners, according to whether my noun is singular and also the verb. So what decides the kind of determiner I use? The noun and also the verb. So these two determine the determiner. They determine, of course, the determiner I'm going to use. Now, there are different determiners if your noun is singular, or if your noun and verb are singular, and other determiners if the noun and verb are plural, and also there are determiners that we use whether the noun is singular or plural. They are used in both cases. Okay, so let's look at the first example here. Each volunteer has a story to tell. So the determiner each means each one of all the ones I have, each volunteer, so each one of them. Okay, so each here, all of these here are used when the noun and the verb are singular. Okay, so singular here, singular. Each volunteer has a story to tell. Each of the volunteers has a story to tell. So if my noun is a plural here, it is going to be each of. So I should maybe move this here because the noun is plural, but you'll see that the verb is singular here. So be careful. So each of the volunteers has a story to tell, and also has either volunteer worked abroad. Also either is used when the verb is singular and also the noun is singular, and also the word neither or the determiner neither. Neither volunteer is very old, and also the noun is singular, the verb is also singular. Of course, because the noun is singular, the verb has to be singular, right? Then, when the noun and verb are plurals, both volunteers work for Doctors Without Borders. So both means two. Okay, so when I say both, it means two. Both volunteers work. So I have a plural noun. Of course, the verb is going to be plural for Doctors Without Borders. Then another determiner, all, or you can sometimes say all volunteers undergo training, and I can also say all of the volunteers undergo training. So both are correct, with of the or without. That's why it's between brackets. Then you have none of the volunteers forget the experience, also a plural noun, and of course the subject-verb agreement, it's also plural. The last type, I should write 3 here. Okay, so this is number 1. No. Number 3, when there is a determiner that could be used whether the subject or the noun is either singular or plural, so I can use it both cases. That determiner is no. So I can say no volunteers forgot the experience, or no volunteer forgets the experience. You will see that this one is singular here. This is a singular noun, but this one is plural. Okay, so the word no could be used whether the subject or the noun is singular or plural. Now for the application here, we're going to look at some sentences where you should choose the correct determiner that makes the sentence correct, and also complete the dash with the verb. Now this is based on a listening task that you should do before this task, but we're not doing it here. So we'll just look at the sentences. So we will choose which determiner best makes the sentence correct, and also the best form of verb to complete the sentence. It says both or neither volunteers enjoy the work. So if we go to both, you'll see that both is used with the plural. It is here. What about neither? Neither is here, is used with the singular. So the answer is going to be both. Okay, so both volunteers, and because it's volunteers, the verb is going to be in the form of the plural. Then the other one says both or neither volunteer. This time it's the same option, but it's singular here. Okay, I have a plural here, it's singular here, so it's going to be neither volunteer gets paid. Okay, third one says some of or all of the people DPAT treats dash serious problems. Now it doesn't depend on the noun here, because some of or all of is all correct, but it depends on the listening task. So the answer is going to be some of the people DPAT treats have serious problems. Then number 4 says every or each of the volunteers Liam meets dash the same goal. Can I say each of the volunteers or every the volunteers? No, I can't say every the volunteers. Every doesn't come with that, so I can only say every volunteer. Okay, so something about this. So we can say every volunteer. I can't say every of the volunteers. Okay, so for number 1 here, every volunteer, you don't use of with volunteer, okay? And you can say each of. And also it's not plural with every, it's singular, okay? So the answer is each of the volunteers Liam meets, because it's each. Now let's go to see each of here. The volunteers has, the verb is going to be singular, so each of the volunteers Liam meets has. By the way, I advise you, if you're watching, to, like, this is a summary of the determiners, which was like just a set of sentences there in your book, but I have made it simpler here, so advise, save this as a picture. Okay, so number 5, none of or no of the events Amy works at dash abroad. Can I say no of the events? No, we don't. We say no events. Okay, so if I want to say no, I'll not have of the here. Okay, but the answer is going to be none of the events Amy works at are. Is it are or is? Let's go back there, see. So none of the volunteers forget. So yes, it's a plural verb. So none of the volunteers or the events Amy works at are abroad. The last one, it will be a long time before dash or neither, either or neither, volunteer, and then you have the verb stop working for Doctors Without Borders. So because they are working at or working for Doctors Without Borders, then it will be a long time before either volunteer. And because it's either, it's going to be stops working for Doctors Without Borders, according to what we've just explained above. Now we've finished with 8A. We're moving to 8B, which is entitled Global Action. A global action will just move right away to the second activity, looking at some of the words which refer to global actions. In this activity, it says complete the sentences with the words in the box. Now, whenever you have a vocabulary task, and if the words are not the same part of a speech, you should make, this should be helpful for you. You look at the words and see what is the part of a speech of every word, and then what do you need in every dash, what part of a speech, then it's going to be easier for you. Yes, believe me. Okay, so the first one is an adjective. This is a noun. This is a verb which is in the singular. There is an S here. And emissions is a noun. Now, in terms of meanings, you can use dictionaries to check the words, so you can look them up in the dictionary. Okay, habitats is also a noun, places where animals live. Okay, so I'll write the meaning here. Places where animals live. And species are kinds of animals, or you can say types. It doesn't have to be animals, by the way, species. It could be even insects. Okay, so backing means support. And an initiative is work done. Okay, so a work done on, I can say on your own accord means without being told. So I'll change it. Okay, so I'll say on your own accord or without being told. You just do it because you want to do it without being told. Okay, if we look at the first dash, it says the blank in the cleanup campaign were all volunteers. Now, according to the structure of the sentence, I need a noun. And the last word says, where's the verb? The verb is where. So, because it's a linking verb, so it means the word that should be in the dash should be the same, almost something that could refer to this. And because it's a noun, it's not an adjective or something. And the answer is going to be the participants in the cleanup campaign were all volunteers. Okay, so it's going to be participants here. Number 2 says, it is a known fact that the developed world blank most of the Earth's resources. You'll see that it is known, or it is a known fact that the developed world. Where is the verb? There is no verb, so I need a verb here. The only verb among all those words is consumes, so the answer is going to be consumes. Number 3 says the damage caused by carbon dash is a dash or a blank problem. We are familiar with the fact that the most gas that's really causing all of the, I can say, global warming is mostly the gas that's emitted from factories, which is the carbon dioxide, and the answer is going to be here by carbon emissions. Is A. What do I need here? I have a noun, I need an adjective. So this is like a noun phrase, students. A noun phrase, a determiner, an adjective, and a noun. So I need an adjective here, and the adjective that would perfectly go here is global. So it's a global problem. Okay, then this remarkable blank was set up with the dash of several major organizations. So I need a noun here. Could I say, we're done with the first 4. We're left with the other 4, or with the other, yes, the other 4. Habitats, am I talking about animals here or environments? No. And by the way, when I say this, so I need a singular noun. Habitats is a plural noun. Species is also a plural noun. The only noun that could go here is this remarkable initiative. So I'll say initiative. This remarkable initiative was set up with the backing or the help or the support of several major organizations. So the backing of several major organizations to protect endangered. Now we've come to endangered, and which mostly goes with the species. We need to make sure that their habitats are not threatened by pollution, especially maybe birds or any kind of animals. Yes. Okay. The reading text for global action here is an international is an international event which most of us are familiar with. You have the title which says Earth Hour. Now you're going to read the article and choose the correct option to complete the sentences. Now this is the last task, so we'll just do it very fast. In 2007, the people of Sydney, we'll see the first sentences here. So sentence, it went dark. So did they strike? Does it say any kind of strike? No. Did they join a coordinated event? Did they suffer a major power cut? Was it a power cut because of the electricity company? No. It was the idea of joining a coordinated event. Coordination, so they did it together. The people of Sydney, in there it is mentioned here, Sydney, okay? The organizers of the first Earth Hour, did they feel that it was a failure? Did they receive criticism from the local newspapers? It says no. Of course, you say the backing of the Sydney Morning, so no, they didn't criticize. Had they planned the event in advance? Yes, you'll see that they say here, yes, had been planning for some time. So had been planning for some time. This is for number 2. So yes, had planned the event in advance. What do the numbers in paragraph 2 represent? So this is for paragraph 2. We have lots of numbers, 200 cities, and then you have 4,000 towns and cities. So this is referring to how many people, and also 2 million homes, how many participants are there, how the number of participants is increasing when it comes to Earth Hour. Okay, so this is number 3. What do the numbers in paragraph 2 represent? Do they represent the rapid rise in participants? Yes, it's the rapid or the fast rise in participants. It's not the increase in the amount of energy we use. This text is not talking about energy. Is it the spread of environmental problems? No, nothing about environmental problems here. And then you have, which of the following is not, so not a feature of Earth Hour? It says turning off lights in private homes. Yes, we do turn off lights in private homes. That's a feature. B, is it reducing the amount of energy consumed in offices? Yes, because if you switch off lights in your office, then yes, you're reducing the amount of energy consumed. Is it limiting the number of TV broadcasts? No, we're not talking about TV broadcasts, so this is the one that's not included. The last 2 questions, so did we do 4? Yes, so we'll move here. What does the writer mean by the phrase a drop in the ocean? Where is it? So yes, it was only a drop in the ocean. Now, WWF is to protect the planet's wildlife. So why did they do this? If, as critics pointed out, so this is the talk of critics, it was only a drop in the ocean. That doesn't mean that there are other more important problems. Doesn't mean that this action is not enough to make a difference, or that we should be looking at water pollution. No, it's not about water, but that this action is not enough to make a difference. Some people think that if only few homes switch electricity or switch off lights, it's not going to make anything, so it's better cancel it. But no, others disagree. What best sums up the purpose of Earth Hour? It makes people think about the electricity they consume. It significantly reduces our carbon emissions, or it helps bring people closer together. Does it make people think about the electricity they consume? Does it really reduce carbon emissions? No, carbon emissions are in the factories, so no, it's not here. Does it bring people closer together? Not that much, but it really makes people think about the electricity they consume. Yes, so it makes people think about the electricity they consume. So that's a wrap up, everyone. We have looked at the 2 main, or the 8A and 8B in Unit 8, entitled Crossing Borders, International Cooperation and Global Action. We discussed the meaning of the topic in general. We looked at some new words. We have used words in context. We have identified some of the determiners, like especially the ones which refer to numbers. We looked at a text about a global action that happens around the world, which is called Earth Hour. And in fact, it was in March. If you have, it's every year. It's the last Saturday. Yes, last Saturday of March. So the whole world. Sometimes some people like to participate in such an event. You can even say it's kind of, for you personally, it reduces your carbon footprint, we can say. Okay, so I guess that's all for today. Thank you very much, everyone, and I wish you all the best. See you next time, inshallah. That's the end of the lesson. Okay. So I just have to say one more sentence here. We might finish this, or we might finish the book. We might finish the book before we are out of, let's say, lessons. So the last 2 lessons are going to be, or maybe 2 or 3, we'll leave them for revising, you can say, writing mostly, or the final exam. Okay, so that's all for now. Bye for now, class. I'm your students.